Hey Mike, getting this stream marked over on Facebook so some of my friends can watch it if they're in here. Okay, I got it up there. Well, my turnbuckles never showed up. I'm not too happy with the seller. I bought them a week ago Tuesday, and I emailed him Friday night after they didn't show up Friday. Said, oh, they're on the way. Of course, no tracking on them. So we'll know if he's lying or not. So I had to steal a couple off one of my old trucks here. Finish this up. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, but I can't wait no more. I got a race next weekend, so I stole some. Hopefully they're straight. I'm sure they are. And we'll put in electronics here today. Put it in, won't have anything hooked up. We'll have to do one more stream after I get it soldered up, and I'll go out, and I got to go out to my shed to do alignment on it. We'll get that done in between live streams and get some wheels and tires on it, and we'll come back as we set up the radio speed control. But I'll get everything up to that point. Get the motors stuck in here. Speed control and receiver, get them in the car. Quite a bit. Of course, everything's brushless. They really don't make motors for outdoors anymore. So you can see how open these motors are so they cool. Hopefully you can see that. This is the newest trendy motor. So yeah, they've changed them quite a bit. You got 3 wires. The brushless motors, the magnet is actually on the rotor in inner part versus the magnets on the outer part. And then it's got like 3 different phases in these cans that make the motor turn. Then you've got a sensor wire that senses where the rotor is in the can. So you got 3 wires that come off the speed control, plus another wire that has 7 hookups, which I had got it here. It's not out, but so you basically got 3 wires and then this bundle of wires that go to the speed control on them. So a lot different that way. The receivers now, new modern ones, don't even have an antenna. Guess I can get that out too. And they're definitely a lot smaller than they used to be. That's the receiver now. They're tiny. Of course, I guess High Tech had some tiny ones there. But yeah, there's no antenna, it's built into it now. Still solder. I did use Dean's for a while. You don't have to do maintenance on these motors. Well, I mean, if you ran outdoors, you'd probably have to take them out still fairly often and clean them out because they're so open. But with the cleanliness of carpet and dirt indoors nowadays, you don't have to pull the motors out. So yeah, everything's soldered in. Batteries, this is what we use for batteries now. They got well, it's kind of like the old banana plugs, but they're a lot bigger. They got 4 and 5 millimeter. This is a 5 millimeter plug that will go on, you know, onto the speed control for the battery. But yeah, these are 4300s. You think of our old 6 cells, you can see how tiny they are. They even make low profile ones of these now that are actually even smaller. But for my mod, racing mod more or less, I've got to run the bigger, what they call a shorty pack. No soldering batteries together. It's all done for you. Just plug them in. But yeah, I still have to solder up the motor wires and the leads that go to the, put some plugs on the leads to go to that. Yeah, they make it pretty simple compared to the old days, that's for sure. And the motors last. That's the other good thing, I guess, about it. Heck, the motor, 13.5 motor I've been running is actually 5 years old. Trinity came out with a motor in between that I ran one for a while, and they had an issue with them, and it was more of a buggy motor too, but they had an issue with the stators, which is the outer part, breaking loose from the can and twisting or being loose in there, and that's what happened to mine. So I retired it, went back to the old motor I had been running, and nowadays you can replace what it's called a rotor and a stator. That's what the two parts of these brushless motors are. But I actually about a year ago changed the rotor out, put a new one in, because that's the magnets in them is what gets weak if the motor gets hot or ages or whatever. So I was basically still running a 5-year-old motor that was good. But these new ones, hopefully that'll be a real good motor. Yeah, 3000s. They got up to 4300s or 4500s with the nickel metals before they went to these lipo batteries. And like I say, same size pack as, like our 6 cells. They're up to around, I don't know, 8100 milliamp hour batteries. And this was like their higher voltage ones and the shorties, and then they make 5600s. Trinity does, with the same size case, which I've actually got to run in my 4-wheel drive. My 4-wheel drive will kill them batteries. 4300s, or actually my older bunch are 4000s, and I could only make about, kind of like the old days, make about 2 or 3 practice laps, and I was running out of battery on the last lap. Of a 6-minute race. So I went up and started running the 5600s in my 4-wheel drive. Yeah, of course 7 cell wasn't legal for racing. Well, at most places anyway. They do. Oh, they got like a spec class of Traxxas short course trucks, and they'll actually still allow them to. They'll run a 7 cell. Will allow them to run a 7 cell nickel metal. They still make nickel metal batteries, but it's for cheaper stuff basically anymore. Well, that one's done. Hopefully I got them lined up the right way. It's 180 off. Let's see if I can use it on the other side. That side down and that side back. Okay, yep, that'll work on the left side. But yeah, charging these design, you know, like in the old days, the chargers would actually peak them up, you know, as they'd take as much juice as what, and then actually the voltage would start to drop, and that's when the chargers knew that the battery was charged. Well, these lipos don't like that, so the chargers nowadays will bring them up. You charge them to about you charge them to 8.4 volts, and they actually got some what they call high voltage packs out now too that actually you can charge them up to 8.7 volts, but that isn't for the most part racing legal anywhere either. But you can charge them to those 8.7s to 8.4 volts. That's people do with them. But yeah, the chargers nowadays, rather than overcharging, they'll bring them up, the cells individually, to that 8.4 volts or 4.2 per cell, and then once it reaches 4.2, it starts cutting back the amperage until both cells are charged to 4.2. It's with that little hole right there in the middle of that battery. It's what they call a balance lead. So the charger's actually charging the individual cells inside of there through that balance lead. Hi, Ashley. Oh no, Mike, that ain't good. What are they chopping you up for? Let's see, I'm a little bit short. Oh man, that's tight. I guess I forgot to run these up and then run them back. Loosen them up a little bit. Okay. See how close that one is. Oh, that ain't good. Well, hopefully they show up all right, Mike. Yeah, I decided I got a lot of things to get done today too, but I figured I better get on here and get this done today. This next week for me is going to be busy too, since I'm racing next weekend. And this thing needs to be done. Okay, there we got the length right. Get the truck here. These are probably going to be tight. Get on there. There we go. Hey Dennis. Yeah, I'm trying to get most of it finished up here today. I'll have one more live stream yet after I get the stuff soldered up and get the truck aligned. Show how to bind the radio to the car and all that fun. Get the speed control set up. This is being a pain. I guess I need to do it right-handed where I can. My left hand's a little bit messed up, and that's why I actually drive left-handed. Left hand don't do what it should do all the time. There we go. And I'm on to the next bag in the car here. A lot of this I won't be using, but some of it I will. Yeah, it's basically sat for here for a week and a half though, Dennis. I've been waiting on an eBay seller. I kind of think he fibbing me a little bit. It's supposed to be here. Those turnbuckles I just popped on, they were supposed to be here between Monday and Wednesday this week. I ordered them a week ago Tuesday and hadn't got here Friday. I emailed the seller. He says, oh, they're on the way. Should be getting them any time. Well, I should have been getting them at least a couple days before right now. So I had to steal some off another truck. Didn't really want to do that, but got to do what you got to do. No, don't I have one more screw? Oh, I got shorter ones left. Can't remember. Oh, okay, I used the black screws in them. Okay, no big deal. gun. I don't know what that little thing is. I know these are both motor mounts. All three of them are, or fan mounts, which I'm not using. Guess I better not get carried away and throw it off the side yet. And I'm not using this because I've got a fancy one to throw in there. Wheel nuts. So we'll go ahead and stick them on there so I don't lose them. If they want to go on, there we go. I may change them out too. They went to a thinner wheel nut. I don't really like them. You about got to use them on two-wheel buggy, but or four-wheel buggy, but because of the thinness. But not really, not necessary for a truck. You know, fighting to get under minimum width. Or maximum width, I should say. Okay, where's my little standoffs? There's one. There's the other one. Okay, Dennis. I'll probably be on here for maybe around a couple hours before DT comes on. Hopefully it won't take that long. Actually, it shouldn't. Just be a matter of getting the electronics positioned in here more or less the way I want them. Take a look at which hole they okay, that's what I figured. You go into the front. And I'll probably need to cut them threads since that's carbon fiber. Hey Kane, how are you? Well, actually, it's day here. It's probably your nighttime. Really want to touch that screw. I know it sucker's hot. More like bedtime, ain't it, Kane? Not daytime. Okay, I need my big wrench here. I figured I'd get on here before DT gets going this afternoon. I will be around for a little while today. The NASCAR race starts at 5:15, so I'll watch part of the stream. Kind of bums me out I won't be there for the board meeting tonight, but it is what it is. And I need to get this height right on this. Well, I guess that one pretty good. One side. That side's down just a little low. Want the shoulder of these nuts just a little bit lower than the top of the battery. Okay, that should be pretty close. Figure out what all the little goody screws they got going on. Oh, I never did put that one in, did I? That is an 8, so it should be a short one. And a flathead right there. That turned way up. You don't need the pretty screws really on this. That'll all be hidden by a chassis cover. Okay, I think we're ready to start finagling the electronics in here. Grab the motor. These are not cheap. About half the value or price of the car in just this. And it probably won't go with those screws tight. Which I know that. Sensor wire, I just will plug it in before I start finagling with it. And I need to take this screw back out. I'll probably need to take the two bottom screws loose. get that motor slipped in there. And it goes right in. And the next question is, do I got enough of that trimmed out of there, which it looks like I will have. Get the motor wires soldered there. And the next question is, where is the motor going to line up in this mount? Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to use those screws right there. Okay, well, it's tilted back a little bit, but and I need a different wrench out here. They give you screws to, of course, put the motor in here, but I don't like the button head screws. These socket head screws got a lot more beef to them, and I can crank them down better, so I use my own screws. Oh, that didn't go in right. Just went the wrong way. Yep, twisted the wrong way. Okay. That should line up. Hopefully, somewhere there. Now that's did it again. So it must need to go that way. For some reason I can't get the line up. The heck. Should go right there. And I know that screw ain't gonna make it down there. I got it did. Okay, well, so I should have just twisted it up on its side the first time. Go ahead and get the pinion put on there. Pinion gear. So it's at the top. The gears lined up. It's pretty close. Just sort of tighten it. Take a look at it here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Well, I guess I ought to put these screws back in before I forget about them. Oh, one thing I should have done. Yep. Just about got ahead of myself. Have enough room to get that up through there. That's good for now. And I'd use a power wrench on this, but this screw tends to strip out a little bit easily. I have stripped these out before, so I don't want to use the power wrench. On it. These don't have to tight force. Worry about power wrench on them. I did knock, there it is. I knew I knocked something on the floor. Little tip for my wrench there. Okay, we need to get the gear mesh set on the motor. Can't get them too tight. I have just a little bit of slack in the gear. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. So it's Tighten one of these down. Oh, then I put my wrench away. One of these down and see where we are. Snug it down. Oh, I got that way too loose. I don't think it moved. Ah, then it moved a whole bunch. Too tight. Too tight. I can feel a little bit of slop there. And the thing is, that motor is moving, twisting just a little bit as I'm guessing this bottom screw might not be way too tight. Okay, come on here. Let's hit that sweet spot. Then it'll move a whole bunch. Hopefully that's it. Okay, I can see a little bit of movement in the gear now. Get out my flashlight so I got a good eyeball at the gap. And I think we're there. Just need to go around the whole, rotate the motor, make sure we don't have no tight spots. Feeling good so far. Take another look. We're about 180 off from where we started. Looks like we got just a little bit of slack in the gear there, which is looking good. Yep. Yep. Okay, I think we're good. We'll go ahead and tighten those down all the way. Motor installed. Still have to solder it up, but we'll get there. Actually, between live builds. brand new ESC, but about 11 years old. Actually, Novak has gone out of business. Actually, the Bob Novak retired in the 70s, and the kids didn't want to keep the business going. Too bad. Novak was quality American-made product. Now we have to fit it in there. Kind of like to do it like this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I've done it like this before. Wires are a little bit long for this capacitor pack. We're going to end up going kind of like this. The wires kind of crimp back like that. That'll give us plenty of room for a receiver. We got enough wire length there. That's A, B, C. See, reach that back one? Yeah, just barely. Of course, got enough room. I could probably do them this way. Do it like this. I kind of like to do it. Sensor wire be long enough. Yeah, appears it will be. Where do the coins go? Into this. A lot of coins to put one of these together. Yeah, I think it's going to go like that. That's the way I kind of want it to go. The receiver will got room to fit right there. I'm getting closer to that point. My biggest issue nowadays is being able to see like I want to. I need to go to the optometrist, I suppose. I've got good forward vision, but my up close vision's getting pretty sucky. Okay. I think it's gonna go that way. Gonna go like that, so I think we'll go ahead and get some double-sided tape out here. So give me more than two. Well, I guess we got three. Got enough to stick the receiver down, hopefully two. Need that anymore. Trying to get this kind of as much toward the center as I can. That's where most of your weight is. So I got plenty of room to put that up in front. The switch I'm going to want on this side. Probably about right there. This wire will need to go down hopefully down through the center of this. I don't know if I got I know I had some shorter leads of these. I wonder if I got a shorter one. Yeah. They used to give you an extra one of them, but that was shorter. Well, there's this, but it's the same length. One that I've used before. Yeah, I'm not seeing one. All I'm seeing is the longer ones. Oh, what do we got here? That's probably a longer one too. Yep. I don't know if it's that long though. Yeah, it is. About that one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. A little shorty. So it'll be just long enough to get to the receiver. Hopefully it looks good, which it does look like it's good. Okay. White wire to the outside. Now let's see if we can get it up through there. Gap is a little bit wider than the one right beside it. There we go. Route that wire right up through the heat sinks. So I need to get a little bit back this way. Wire ain't gonna get cut. There we go. Of course, now it's going to be right in the way of the balance lead, so we might have to finagle that a little bit yet. Anyway. RC car, Richard. So I need a strip about half that width. And hopefully that'll keep. Actually, that could use a little piece right there out on the end, but I think we'll worry about it. Hopefully the rest of that'll hold it. Okay, that needs a little square cut for it. For the switch. Up to about right there. Yeah, Kane, you better have a nap. If you've been up all night and going into DT's stream here in, what, hour and a half? Yeah, somewhere a couple hours. Trying to watch the chat. I'm sorta. It should be the right size for this. The wires are wherever I want them to be here. Don't want that there. I want to get this as centered as I can in there. So that is most of the weight. These things, the receivers are basically super light. Eyeball everything in there. Before I go to stick it down. Come on here. There it goes. It's in place. So I need to this laid where it needs to be. Come on. Stuff can be a pain in the rear to get the second side loose. And I've got some fingernails, so I'd hate to guess what some people would have to fight to get those come loose. I think I got it if I just lift. It needs to go right there. Yeah, Dennis, I seen you over there on Ashley's channels late last night. I popped in just for a couple minutes, right as you guys were getting done. Didn't say anything, but I just watched for a little bit. Okay, now these, I need to make those wires kind of crimp up right up there. Just enough room to get that receiver in there. Which, that ain't bad. Actually, that's just about the right perfect. Could be just a little wider, but it should work. Perfect. Ah, okay. We can start putting, yeah, I guess I need to get the switch put where I want it. Here. So want it stuck against the side of that, right next to that capacitor, right there. Yeah, I think I can finagle the wires just to sit there. Probably could use a piece of, or a wire tie on it. We'll just see what. See what happens after I get it in here, in place here. Don't want wires hanging all loose inside of it. You kind of want to shorten things up as much as possible. That fit just perfect in there, just like that. Up in the air, but kind of out of the way. I think I will use a wire tie on this. Shorten it up just a little bit. Hey, Jimmy and Donald. Trying to get this finished up before I go racing next weekend. Been waiting for parts. They didn't come in. I had to rob some off another truck. A little disappointed in the eBay seller, but what can you do? I mean, I only ordered them a week ago Tuesday. Not here. They're on the way, is what I've been told. Okay. So, trying to get things kind of finagled and in place or want them there. Some people get fancy and actually shorten these leads up, but I'm not that fancy. My shortening up is my zip ties. It needs to go right there. So I got a number of the coin guys in. Haven't seen any of my RC guys around. I put a notice up on Facebook. It is Sunday. Some might be racing somewhere. Okay. Start plugging these into the receiver. The number one spot is for the servo. This one's always kind of a pain. I don't know why, but getting the very first one in just isn't quite enough room to making things so small nowadays. I think they actually made this just a little too tight. Although tight is good. You don't want these leads popping out on you. Just a pain to get them started. The very first one is the toughest on these receivers. I think it's actually got to kind of spread the case left and right just a little bit, and then once you do that on the first one, the rest go in easier. I know I've fought more than one of these getting it started in there. And you got to kind of go at just a little bit of a and I suppose what thing is that not really any room to try and trim off any of the edge of it. And it does fit, I know they do. It's just a pain to get the first one to go in, which it went right there. Then the number 2 slot is the speed control. Signal side is to the antenna. And even it can be a pain, the second one. Once they go, they go. You'd think this one would be easier because it's been used before. But no. But like I say, it's better to be tight than loose. You don't want these popping out during the middle of a race. Especially the steering and the speed control. Think about have it and then it don't go. There it goes, in place. And I don't know if I want to put a little, might wait till I get my other leads in there. And the next plug in there is the transponder, which I don't know if I got one of the little holders. Oh, yep, there I do. You got one of the little holders. Which I really don't need. And this little box is what counts your car. It actually, that's what sends a signal to the loop that you cross. Dennis probably knows what I'm talking about. Probably made by the same company that he is big cars. Of course, they're probably a different box, but actually AMB or my laps is what makes these, but this is what counts your laps on your cars. And I usually mount it right there. I could use the little holder, take off my thing there, but what I'll do is I'll use a hook and loop on it. Makes it easy to get out of the way. if I need to work on the steering, servo, or in that area. Except I need to get my hook and loop material out here. A little bit of Velcro. And I need a piece like about that long. About that wide. To trim it up on the top a little bit. Should probably fit. Yep. Right in there. Need a piece for that. So like that should be about right, what I got right there. Trim up this rough edge a little bit. There it goes. A little Velcro on there, and like I say, it makes it easy to remove it if you got to work on the stuff up there. Before we put that down on there, we're gonna coil this up again tight. Make my own little stretchy wire there. Okay, got that one in. Red and black should be center and out. Third one in place, and of course it goes right in. I say it's kind of weird how that first ones, they don't like to go, and it's just like it almost spreads the this the area between them just a little bit, and then stuff starts going in. And now got this little fan wire that's got an O, and it went right through the middle of them, didn't it? Well, maybe not. Little fan for the motor here. That plugs in there also on the receiver. That's where it gets its power from. And let's see, I probably need to go under that wire, but over the other ones. This wire will be just a little to the short side. Come on, get in there. Don't want to get that plugged onto the wrong ones either. Right there. Get in there. Nope, I'm not on the right ones. Yeah, we actually buy our own transponders, Dennis. We used to be able, well, back in the day when they were really expensive, you did have what you called house transponders that you had a little battery in them, and you got the track supplied them. But nowadays, it's about $100 for one for our little cars, powered through the receiver. I say I got it plugged into the receiver. I need to get that last little plug. There it goes. That felt like that went to the right spot too. Yep, I can see the little plug there beside it. But yeah, that's our little transponder right there, that little thing. Okay, sensor wire for the motor. They only go one way. Hopefully it slips right down in there. Yep, there it goes. Gets down in place. Now I need a little piece of black tape. Run a piece of black tape to hold down those wires that go underneath the battery. Yeah, that's what I figured. You probably, of course, we're only a couple inches off the loop and on ours, so I'm sure that, well, then yours has probably got a pretty good sized battery inside of it that that runs it, that they have to charge every, before you get them or whatever. I say some tracks still got what they call the house transponders and use them, but that's pretty much gone by the wayside. For one thing, they're really expensive. The other thing, they don't make them anymore. So but they're about, the house transponders that we had were probably about 3 times the size of those. Probably weigh about twice as much. Yeah, I can't have a little, gotta get those flat in there. Can't have them hanging out there. There we go. It's like a big cluster of wires, don't it? In a small area. Yep, that's our life. Like I say, I won't get to it today, but I'll still have to hook up. I'll have to solder these wires in place that go to the motor. Then I'll have to put some plugs on these 2 wires that will go to my battery. We'll make them look, we'll put a big piece of heat shrink around them and to hold them in place, and the same with these. But I won't do with that live. My soldering iron is down in the basement, and I ain't gonna solder up here because I like to fling solder on the concrete floor down there. But yeah, those will go over there. Battery sits right in here. I'll actually get the battery hold down out here. I got one, I'm stealing off another car, off the other truck, since I already had it built, but I do got one for it too. Well, unless that one's already put together, it looks like. Oh, no, it ain't. It's missing. One of the screws come out of it, huh? Anyway, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one. Set in there the right way. This is what holds the battery down. It's a little strap. For some reason that is not going down like it should. There it goes. Hi, Jersey. Then hopefully I grabbed them somewhere too. I got some little thumb. Associated ain't good enough to give you. They give you these little nuts to put on there. And the heck with that. Somewhere down in here. There they are. Some little thumb nuts that hold the battery down. Well, that's basically the look of the inside of the car. I don't know how much time I got, about an hour. I still got a little time here yet. This ain't gonna do any of the soldering right now. But I could mount the body up. Still got some time yet. Or at least sort of get it ready to go. Okay. Grab the body. I think he's got it all cut out for me. Yeah, he does. No, he don't. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to trim the body. I can see the line there where I'll have to trim it back to. Looks like there's a double line. I don't know why there'd be a double line there. But I guess I could set that off to the side. I'm going to have to do some cutting here. These bodies are made of Lexan, like some of the fancy windshields in like NASCAR windshields. And unlike a normal car where you paint them on the inside, these are, or on the outside, you paint these backwards on the inside. As you can see there, it's got a backing coat of black there. But that paint isn't on the outside, it's on the inside of the body. And I got some trimming to do here. Hopefully I can follow the lines. Oh, and that black is going to make it hard. I've usually had them backed with white. So marking these holes, the two holes are easy, but the other two are not. And these are Lexan scissors too, made to cut this plastic. They got a little bit of a curved tip to help trim around corners, as you can maybe see. I'm having a hard enough time myself, Dennis. There is a pretty good line there though to follow. Thing is, I don't want to scratch the paint either. It's being kind of a pain here. And this some reason here. It's pretty thick right there. Also thicker than I'm used to. Anyway, we'll try and cut it from the other way. Don't really like to do this because you never get it quite perfect where they meet. Yeah, especially through the colored parts where it's silver, I can see the line real good. Through the blue, it's a little tough, but I can see it. But barely. I got to get the light just angled just right there on that to see it. One thing too, right where that line is the body is just a little bit thinner, so the scissors kind of tend to to try and follow that anyway. And one thing I can tell, like even this one, right in the wheel wells, which that's a good thing. The plastic is thicker. That's where these bodies tend to be a little bit weak when you wreck them, is usually right in here, right in there, and then kind of right in there. That's the two places that, especially the front, right in through here is the one place they like to crack. And the one thing too, the guys that paint these use what they call liquid mask, and that's how they sprayed down the inside first, and they actually use an X-Acto knife to cut out their lines. And if they get carried away cutting those lines out and put a little NARF on the Lexan, that creates a weak spot, and that's a place where they'll tend to break also. If I just wouldn't wreck, I wouldn't break bodies, but I've actually done pretty good the last, like I tell people, as long as my last set of bodies have lasted, I must not be driving hard enough anymore. And I don't think I hit that line too straight there. I'm not bad. I can see about right there. I started getting off the line a little bit. But yeah, you it'd be nice if they cut them out, but then, yeah, I would just soon cut them out to size myself. The last buggy body that I had, the one that I'm actually running right now, the guy cut it, trimmed it, I don't know if he trimmed it above the line or what exactly happened, but body don't fit down like I wish it would. On the car. Trucks ain't quite so important. They got a little bit of space. Buggies are pretty tight, everything inside of the body. So if it isn't, like if the body is kind of pushing up on the, or the electronics on the inside are kind of pushing up on the body, it don't sit down. So too. I don't know if I doubt I'll get this mounted completely. We'll see. There's a wing that'll have to go on this also before I drill the back holes for the body. We'll see if we got time here yet. I'll have to trim it out also, the wing, to make it, it's in a piece of plastic that's oversized. Looks like I'm down to just me here, maybe watching. We might shut her down here. I just about got the body cut out here though. Smooth up that edge. Don't want any sharp points anywhere. That one I got smooth. That one could be trimmed just a little. Could be trimmed a little. Trimmed a little. And that should be body. I wonder if he's took the, I would guess not. There should be a plastic coating on these for paint over spray. I'm guessing that's why I can see, guessing that is he might have it off. It just maybe what's left over on the inside. At least I hope he don't have. Oh, I bet you he does have it off because he put that sticker on there. Sometimes guys, actually, when you get these bodies unpainted, there is a piece of plastic film that you peel off after you paint it that protects the outside from paint over spray. And then you can actually draw your designs on that film that you can use to mark, do your, cut out your lines on the inside. Okay. Find me a wing. That should be the right wing for this body. Like I say, this they don't cut it out either. You gotta trim it. You gotta cut them out too. These can be more of a pain than the body. They actually put 4 screws in that. Well, no, actually they put 2 in there. And these marks are where the body posts come up through. Anyway, get to cutting on this. And these, sometimes it's just best to cut it off, the excess, because it just gets in your way. You go to try and cut straight lines. Just cut off the excess here. And we'll go about cutting along the line. See if I can. And this one is straight on the bend, so you can't actually see the line. So I just have to kind of wing it. Thing is, you don't want to cut it past the bend because you want it flat, which I may have just screwed up there. May have screwed up there too. Yep, them 2 places where I thought I did. I got a little lip. Say I just need to cut it well behind the line, which I didn't do. That one's good. Now I need to get that center one. Almost. got it. Hey Dave, how are you doing, buddy? Not racing today down at Layton? Was that all done yesterday? Had it covered up there, Dave. You see what that is there? Or do you recognize what that might be? Am I old school or what? I've got 2 more of them brand new. Brand new in the package. Actually, yeah, it's the Pulse, but they made a V2. This is actually the original Pulse. It isn't the V2. They're good though. I'm still running them. I couldn't get any more of the V2s. Those are all gone. I couldn't get any more on eBay. Those actually come from eBay. Brand new. They've made just a couple subtle changes to the V2. The main thing, they put the cap board actually on the ESC, where this one is separate there. Yeah, we got a brand new 12-year-old speed control in there. I've still been running them on my 13.5 trucks. I didn't pull the electronics out of my other one. I'm going to keep my 6.2 truck set up for foams for muscatine. This one is going to be set up for rubber tire for the muscatine race over there, the J-Con race. And then to go to hopefully to Webster City this winter a few times. That way I don't have to swap setups back and forth between them. Yeah, and that actually, you know, everything that they do, everything that all the modern ones do. And actually, you know, that's where basically everybody got their ideas was from Novak. So as far as frequency control or, you know, changing the frequency and all that stuff, that's all Novak. It's the one that come out with it originally. So yeah, as long as they work, why not keep using them? People have trouble with this new crap, so people all the time having trouble with their hobby wings and whatever else, their reedies. I mean, not that I didn't have trouble with my Novaks went back in kinetic era, but that was a quality control screw up that took out a good share of them, that kind of hurt Novak's name. Pulses were all good. I mean, not that I haven't had one fail, but it was due to a motor failure. Actually, the motor locked up. Something locked up in the motor and took out the ESC, so yeah, keep using what works. Were you down at Southridge Mall that night that I had that one kinetic burn up on me during the middle of the race and stunk up the whole mall down there at Southridge? That was kind of the final. It's like, come on, dudes. I think I had a big race coming up too, like a week away, and I got a hold of Charlie there at Novak, and he shipped me out a brand new ESC that he said had been tested by him. Said, don't worry about getting your ESC back. I'll send you this out. You'll have it by the weekend. So that's one reason I've always been faithful to the old Novak brand. That's the best customer service I've ever had. That they sent out a speed control without having the old one back. They knew they had issues with them. And I actually found one of them before I actually hooked it up that was actually they had the wires soldered onto the cap board backwards. That's what took out a lot of them. They didn't realize how many of them got out the door before they realized they were bad. And they wouldn't burn up right away. I mean, the cap probably more or less probably did, but the speed controls usually a few weeks before they would go up in smoke after the cap. You know, the cap would probably burn out right away, more or less, and yeah, I kind of miss them. I wish they were still around. The last true US-based speed control company there probably is. I don't know if Reedy, well, probably none of them were ever made in the US, but at least their customer service was here in the US. Pretty much done for today. I gotta take the car down in the basement and solder the motor in. I think I'd probably be better off mounting the wing and all this shit on there elsewhere or off camera. Yeah, Brandon Kearney's painting these bodies now. Seems like I have a new painter about every time anymore. Still following my paint job design though. Yeah, I say I still got to do some wiring on it yet, but then I got to take it out to the shop and get the alignment all set on them. Didn't have the fancy shocks on this one. I just hope these 13 millimeter shocks I get figured out. There is no setups out there at all for these trucks on carpet with the big shocks, so it's a guess. And the big shocks have been around for almost a year, and nobody has any setup sheets out for these on carpet. Not even Rivkin or nobody. It's like, really? But I kind of think I'm about done for today. Need to get a shower and get ready to go over to Junior's. Go watch the NASCAR race. Comes on about 5:15. So did you go to the 13 millimeter shocks and use them on your truck, or were you still running the 12 millimeter? My 12 millimeter shocks on carpet are perfect. That's way I look at it. If these are just totally out of wonk, I can throw my 12 millimeter shocks back on this car and I should be good. That's the way I feel about it, because I know what I was using on them. The one thing, I'm running buggy springs on these on carpet to get the ride heights lower. And with the 13 millimeter shocks, they haven't come out with V2 springs for them. And I'm running on my 12 mil, I had the orange, yes. V2s on the front and the yellow V2s on the rear. And of course, no V2s, the progressive rate, which I think the progressive rate is perfect for the truck. The more that you compress the spring, the more, stiffness it has. So I just wish they'd come out, they'd think more about the trucks and whatever too. Because the truck springs are way too long to get the car low. Which, I mean, I'm basically almost dragging the ground with it over Muscatine. They don't have any big jumps. Enough that it don't kick the ass end off the jumps, and you get it as low as you can get. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it was associated with, well, and I can't blame them either. There's nobody that's running any mod truck anymore, so none of the big guys aren't hardly running truck anymore. It's all four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive. I'm like, whatever. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to hop off of here. I've been on here almost 2.5 hours. Yeah, I mean, they run at Nationals. I mean, we used to run them out in Ohio. That race is done in January. Heck, I can hardly name any. Everything's 13.5 now, and that's the only class. I guess Omaha ran them this summer probably again. I don't know. Too damn hot for me over there. Yep, good talking to you, Fasty. Glad to see you pop in here. You're the only RC person that popped in. So, yeah, we'll probably be seeing you around somewhere, sometime, somehow. Got to come over there to Muscatine for the J-Con race there in October. Get your truck out. Come over and have fun with me. We got some pretty good truck guys over there. Okay, later guys. Thanks for watching. I sure appreciate it. Gonna close up shop for today. I can come back, I'll have the motor soldered up. We'll be basically ready to set up the radio and speed control. So, okay, later.